Good morning or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Lori Blanton, and I work with UC International Services as a program manager for our Student Services and Support team. We want to welcome you this morning to our UCI Services panel information session. We're so pleased that you could join us and thrilled that you have chosen UC to further your education. Today's session will include both pre-recorded videos and a live presentation. I want to introduce our panelists this morning. So we'll start with Katie. Katie, say good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good day so far. My name is Katie Dockstader. I am the program coordinator for UC International Services.
And I'd like you to meet our immigration advisors as well that we have in our space. James, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is James, and I work for UC International Services, and I help provide immigration and tax advice.
And we have Ms. Sarah O'Connell with us as well. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning or good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah O'Connell, and I'm one of the immigration advisors with UC International. We're so happy that you're here with us.
This morning, we hope to answer questions regarding your immigration status and your options and rights as an international student in the U.S. We're going to connect you to some campus and community resources that should help keep you informed. And we'll share some event and workshop details that will help you thrive at UC and feel like you're part of our Bearcat family. Following this presentation, we're going to offer two breakout sessions, one on student success at a college, and the other one is on on-campus employment. We hope you'll join us for those sessions. And we will paste the link to those sessions in the chat function at the end of this main presentation.
Yeah, so some general reminders for the session today. This will be an informational session and there will be opportunities for you to ask questions. For this first section, which is going to be about 30 minutes, we're going to present you with a lot of information. So we're going to try and keep it engaging with a mix of videos and live conversations, like Lori said. That being said, please excuse any technical difficulties we may experience while we switch between these elements. During this informational session, you should be muted and your video should be off. And save your questions, please, for the question and answer or Q&A that we will conduct at the end of the presentation. You can put your questions into the chat at any time and we will answer them at the end. Any very specific and personal questions should be emailed to international students to our email at internationalstudents@ucmail.uc.edu, which we will paste into the chat as well. Some of the specific buttons and functions in this room, if you are not familiar with Zoom, to switch between the gallery view, which is seeing everyone, versus just the speaker or presenter, there is a button in the top right corner that says view. You can click on that and switch between whatever you'd like. The chat button to ask questions and whatnot is at the bottom of your screen. If you click on that, there will be a panel that opens to the right as well. You can type your questions in. For any reason, if you get disconnected, the session will be recorded for viewing later on, and we will provide links for that in the weekly UCI Services newsletter. If you still have more questions and you maybe don't want to ask them here today, you're more than welcome to visit our weekly virtual office hours on Thursdays at 3 p.m. And we'll remind you about this again at the end of the presentation. Like Lori said, remember that there will be two breakout sessions following this main presentation that will be useful to you on campus employment and student success at US colleges. Links to these will be made available in the chat following the session. So I think now I'm going to share my screen so that we can watch our first video. So give me just a second to do that.
Welcome to the University of Cincinnati. As an international student, you are a valued member of our global community here at UC.
Today, we are going to introduce you to a little bit of your home away from home, which is UC International.
So UC International is comprised of 4 units. We have our planning department,
study abroad,
international admissions,
and international services.
everyone is here to help you throughout your educational journey at UC.
So let's go check in with our staff at UC International and see how we can help you along the way. UC International is on the 7th floor at Edward Center 1.
Whenever you have questions or concerns, you can always find help here.
Follow us.
And we'll go take a look.
Hello everyone, welcome to the University of Cincinnati. My name is Ron Cushing and I'm the Director of UC International Services. On behalf of our office and the entire university community, I want to welcome you to the University of Cincinnati. We are honored that you've decided to pursue your educational objectives with us, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that your experience here is a positive one. We know that your decision to study in the United States and here at UC was made after months, if not years, of hard work, dedication, and tough decisions by you and your family. You need to understand that the challenge you are about to embark upon is going to be a difficult one, but it will also be rewarding. Our office is going to help you meet those challenges and obtain those rewards. You should know that you're joining a very large and exciting international community. You're going to be part of more than 3,000 enrolled international students from more than 100 different countries from across the world. UC International Services is responsible for making sure that you understand all the rules and regulations that you need to follow as an international student and providing you with the proper authorizations along the way. While you're studying, you're going to need to travel. Many of you are in programs that involve co-op or capstones that require work assignments during your stay. You may change your degree level or your program of study. Some of you may have dependents who need to come and be with you. There's a whole host of immigration regulations you need to follow, and we're going to make sure you understand those rules and provide you with the proper authorizations. We have highly trained staff who are available to help answer all of your questions, and we encourage you to contact us when you need help. Please make sure you address all immigration and visa questions to our office. Don't ask your friends, don't ask your college advisor or your departmental advisor. Make sure all visa and immigration questions are addressed to our staff. We also provide you with a host of programming activities during your stay here. Certainly during the first few weeks, you're going to be invited to participate in a lot of welcome and arrival activities. And then throughout your stay, we are going to provide you with opportunities to engage in programs that will help you learn about U.S. culture, the university, the city of Cincinnati, and the U.S. in general. I can assure you that the students who take advantage of those opportunities are the students that leave here with the most positive experiences. So please take advantage of those programs when you have the opportunities. So welcome to UC. We look forward to helping you obtain all of your personal and academic objectives.
As Ron mentioned, UC International is here mainly for immigration advising and student support.
Let's check in with some of our international advisors and learn from them all that we can about keeping up to date your visa.
Okay, well, welcome. Again, my name is James Tenney, and I'm with UC International Services. And again, thank you for choosing UC and for finally getting here to pursue your studies in your future. This spring semester will be confusing, and it will be unique because of the pandemic. So if you ever feel lost or confused, please do contact us so we can help you with what it is you're trying to do. Our contact information is always available on our website. Our phone number is 513-556-4278. And our email address is international.students@uc.edu. Or you can stop by and see one of our advisors at any time. Normally, we are open Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But for the first 2 weeks of this semester through to January 24th, we will only be here in the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. However, you can always still contact us Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. through our phone number or through our email, and we'll respond as quickly as we possibly can.
You'll find that most of our services start with iBearcats Global. Before arriving on campus, you've been logging in using the limited services option. It asks for your M number, a PIN, and your date of birth. It is extremely important that you complete the pre-arrival checklist immediately after arriving to the US. This is how we process your immigration record, and not completing it could put your status in jeopardy. Likewise, it is a requirement of your immigration status to keep our office updated with your local address and phone number. These can be updated in Catalyst under the My Profile tile. Your address here in Cincinnati should be updated with the mailing address option. You can also find examples of how to correctly format a US address in the pre-arrival checklist under the Mandatory Personal Information tab. After arrival to the US and completing the pre-arrival checklist, you'll need to start logging into iBearcats Global with the full services option. This is going to ask for your UC username and your password, just like when you log into your UC email account or Catalyst. The full range of services you need after arrival will not be available in the limited services option, so it's important to use that full services once you finish the pre-arrival checklist. Immigration rules can change often and be confusing, definitely during a pandemic. So we're to help try and make this clear what the rules are for spring 2022.
Now, your full-time enrollment must be at least 12 credit hours if you are an undergraduate student, and at least 10 credit hours if you are a graduate student for each semester of study. You can only use one course or 3 credit hours of online courses to meet the full-time requirement. So for example, let's say you're an undergraduate student, you must be enrolled for at least 9 credit hours of in-person classes, and all the others can be online. If you are a graduate student, at least 7 of those credits must be in person, while the rest can be all online. Again, as long as you're registered for at least 12 or 10, depending if you're an undergraduate or a graduate student, that's what we're looking for here. You'll notice in Catalyst that sometimes the courses are listed as PD, or partially distance, or MD, mostly distance, or they're marked online. That will guide you to what is qualified as an in-person or an online class. PD, partially distance, is considered in-person, whereas online or mostly distance are considered online courses. Now, you are aware that for the first 2 weeks of this particular semester of spring 2022, we are going to a fully virtual curriculum at this point. This will not negatively impact your immigration status. And so as long as you are enrolled in courses which are typically in person, and they will go back to in person hopefully in a couple of weeks, then you are going to be fine with your immigration status. Now, obviously at some point, either this semester or maybe in the future, you may have some issues, and maybe you'll have an academic issue or a medical situation that's preventing you from enrolling full time. If that's the case, please contact our office so we can discuss that with you. The Immigration Service will allow you to drop below full time depending on what the academic or medical issue is. And we have a reduced course load e-form available on iBearcats Global that needs to be completed before you drop a course.
Your I-20 or DS 2019 identifies who you are and what you're doing here in the US. For example, it shows which school you're studying at and what degree you are pursuing. It also tells you and our office how much time you have left to complete that degree. If you're going to change your plan, maybe you're starting a different major or a different degree level, maybe you need more time to finish your current degree, it's important that you notify our office because you will need a new I-20. You can do most of these changes by requesting them through iBearcats Global. It's really important to know the expiration date on your I-20, and if you need more time, to request an extension before it expires. We can't extend your I-20 after it expires, so it's very important to contact us before that point. Keep in mind, however, that it is okay for your F1 or J1 visa stamp and your passport to expire while you're here in the US. You're not required to renew your visa while you are inside of the US, but if you travel after it expires, you will need to renew it at the US Embassy or consulate in your home country. You cannot renew a visa inside of the US. Also, your passport should be renewed at your home country's embassy or consulate in the US. You always want to make sure to keep your passport current while you're here studying.
Now, travel signatures. You may want to go home at some point, maybe during the summer break or at some point in your future while you're here. And this means you'll need a travel signature placed on your I-20 or your DS 2019. If you are an F1 student, you have an I-20, and so there's a spot on page 2 of your I-20 for travel signatures. If you are a J1 student, you will see that there's a travel signature section in the bottom right-hand corner of your DS 2019. This is where we can put a travel signature. And guess where you can request this travel signature? That's right, iBearcats Global. We have a travel signature request e-form, so please submit that as soon as you've made your travel plans, as this can take 5 business days to process. However, if you have an emergency trip, something's not going right at home and you need to leave immediately, just let us know and we'll try to figure out how we can best help you get that travel signature.
On-campus employment is something you may be interested in. As an F1 or J1 student, you can work on campus up to 20 hours per week in the fall and spring semesters and over 20 hours per week during the summer, spring, and winter break. When you've been offered an on-campus job, whether it's in a UC office or a non-UC employer such as food services, please log on to iBearcats Global and submit the employment eligibility verification/onboarding e-form, and we will help you complete the hiring process, including giving you the documents you need to apply for a social security number. OPT and CPT are types of off-campus work permits. These are here to help you obtain practical experiences for what you're learning about in your degree programs. Most of you won't need these or won't qualify to use these in your first academic year of study. But as you get further into your career, we have details about both work authorizations located on our website and in iBearcats Global.
And taxes. Taxes can be very confusing, even for American students. And so what we try to do is we try to make it as simple as possible. Keep reading our newsletter. It comes out once a week, and watch and pay attention to our website. But every year as an F1 student, whether or not you've earned any US income, you have to file an income tax return or a tax report that indicates how much you got paid, how much you got taxed, and how much you should have been taxed. We provide assistance with this every year in February. And so if you were physically present in the US in the year 2021, we're going to provide help with you to do the 2021 tax report, which is due this year. Don't be concerned about this if you've just arrived here in 2022. You can worry all about this next year, and we'll send out information through our newsletter and our website and all our social media to tell you how you can get help with this. Now, we're hopeful that everything is going to go back to normal here soon in the next few weeks, and we'll go back to in-person classes and activities. And so that's always the hope here we try to do. But if you get lost or confused again, please let us know what your questions are. Again, our contact information is on our website, and we are answering the emails and answering phones during Monday through Friday through 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. But for now, the most important thing you need to keep in mind is do log on to iBearcats Global and make sure that that pre-arrival checklist has been completed. Tab 9, which is resources and regulations, is the one thing that you must finalize before we can close out your check-in record and then activate your SEVIS record. So then you're a full-time student here. Finally, these rules, as Sarah mentioned before, can change at any time. And believe me, the last 2 years, they've changed quite often. So don't feel bad if you got lost or confused. Contact us. That's what we're here for. And so now I'll turn it back over to Lori and Katie.
Thank you very much. And now we are going to go into our second video. So give me a second to share my screen for that.
The UC International website is filled with tons of resources and information about your visa, the university, and more. If you ever have a question or want to know where to go, consider our website your first stop. However, much of the way you'll interact with our office involves using our online system, iBearcats Global. Up until this point, you've probably been using the limited services. Now you can use the full services for students and scholars to submit e-forms, make requests, and more. Sagar, an international student in engineering, was on co-op last semester. In order to do co-op, he had to get authorization for CPT. Let's hear his advice about how to work with our office to get CPT authorization.
For the CPT process, I think it has been really helpful keeping in touch with UC International. I definitely think it's a learning curve. You kind of need to understand how the CPT process works. So my first few times, I would say, I wasn't sure what to do. So what I did was I set up an appointment with the immigration officer. Within 2 days, you can get the appointment. You can go and talk to them about, any questions you have. After submitting the request on iBearcats Global, usually what I do is follow up next day with them over the phone, just calling the reception office, and they're pretty responsive. Even if there's a delay, they would let you know that we'll get to you in 2 days or 3 days, and it's been a pretty smooth process. In general, they were really helpful and friendly in answering all the questions I have.
Hey Bearcats, welcome to UC.
In addition to the immigration services that we provide, UC International also provides a welcoming, inclusive, and safe space for international students. We can give you resources, strategies, and tools to help you accommodate to life at UC and in Cincinnati. Here's just a small example of the events that we've put on in years past.
think the favorite part interacting with UC International and all the community around here was knowing someone from a country in Europe is equal to like traveling through their eyes and understanding how their country is. So that was really precious, I think.
iPals to me is where you can make friends from around the world and also learn their experiences, share your experiences as well, along with we can support and help each other along the ways. My freshman year, I wish I learned about iPals, how I could have made all the friends I have now earlier on and all the opportunities I could have joined before as well.
I think one advice I would like to give international students would be to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes things can be very frustrating and it could be a lot of work. But once you step out, try to learn about new things, try to learn about the culture in the US, it just starts becoming more and more beautiful, and it comes easier to, like make new friends and just understand the differences we have and just embrace it together.
Okay, that was a little video we wanted to share about working with our office, and then some of the opportunities that we also hope to offer you when we return to in-person in a couple of weeks. So we work for UC International Services, and we're here to provide social and academic support so that you have a holistic and positive experience at UC. Our team includes me and Katie, and we have two great graduate assistants who were in the video as well. Look like they had a lot of fun. They're great, and also a great resource for you if you have questions as you start to accommodate here in Cincinnati. We're going to communicate with you through Instagram, Facebook, Campus Link, and our weekly newsletter. If you aren't following us on social media, we encourage you to start today. The weekly newsletter will show up in your UC inbox, usually on Tuesday evenings. Katie and I are overseeing the mailing of the newsletter. The newsletter is going to include immigration updates, and it will have UCI event listings. Campus and community sources and events will appear on the first Tuesday of the month, and you should read the newsletter thoroughly each week. Events, workshops, and our meetups this spring will be probably a hybrid mix of both in-person and virtual opportunities. Information to access these events and resources will be shared on our social media, through Campus Link, and in our weekly newsletter.
Our student group, the International Partners and Leaders, also known as IPALS, which was featured heavily in that video previously, includes both domestic and international students, grads and undergrads, and will be on hand at these events to extend a peer-to-peer welcome and are also available for your questions. You can reach out to them. They are a fantastic resource. You should be able to identify them either by their IPALS t-shirts or by their smiling faces. UCI also hosts a weekly English conversation group every Thursday evening that you might like to attend. It is a casual opportunity to improve and practice English skills, or you can act as a conversation partner to help others in a fun virtual space. Information about how you can join the group will appear in the newsletter as well. It's also a good way to meet new people. We would like to encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions about events or whatnot, and remind you how you can get in touch. So currently, due to Omicron, as has been mentioned before, we will be online fully until the 24th. Tuesdays and Thursdays, however, our office will be open from 8 to 5 o'clock for document pickup, drop off, travel signatures, etc. However, Monday through Friday, you can still contact us via email or phone from 8 to 5. So if you want to do that, and our office is located at Edwards Center 1, Suite 7148. You can also call us at 513-556-4278 or email us at international.students@uc.edu. So we'll be pasting that information into the chat. We also have the virtual Ask an Advisor session on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. So if you have any sort of questions, that's where you can find us. And then finally, our website just has a whole lot of information, and that is www.uc.edu/international.
Okay, so we're going to get to your questions now, and you did have questions in the chat, and I'm just going to kind of read those questions and ask James and Sarah to weigh in, and Katie and I will answer any kind of resources or event questions. So the first question, what happens if my visa expires while I am in the United States?
I can take that question. So it is okay for the visa stamp in your passport to expire while you're here in the US. You're only required to renew it if you're going to be traveling internationally after it expires. You can't renew a visa inside of the US. It can only be done at a US embassy or consulate abroad. So the expiration date to pay attention to is the one on your I-20 or DS 2019. That's the one that's most important to be aware of while you're here in the US.
Okay, kind of tailgating on that one. Can I renew my visa or my passport while I'm in the United States?
Yeah, so your passport can be renewed from inside the US. You would want to find your home country's embassy or consulate in the US. Most of those are located in Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York. Contact them to see what the process is, but you can mail your passport into them and they'll mail you a new one back. If your visa stamp is unexpired, they will send you the old passport. So you might have to carry 2 documents when you travel, but that's okay, that's normal. And again, visa only can be renewed from abroad. So that's something to plan to do over summer break or winter break, but not something you need to worry about while you're here in the US.
Okay, what do I need to do if I want to go home and come back to the US?
Well, what you should do is log on to iBearcats Global and submit the travel signature request e-form. It's going to ask you some details about the trip that you're going to take, like when are you leaving and when are you coming back. We'll take a look at that, and we'll take a look at your entire immigration record to see if there's anything that may be problematic or if everything's okay. And if everything's okay, we will then send you an approval email with an I-20 letting you know that the I-20 is attached to the email has been signed for travel, and then you can use that to re-enter the US. You don't need a travel signature to leave the US, but you need one to get back into the US. And you do not need a travel signature to travel within the United States, Hawaii, or Puerto Rico. Those are considered part of the US territory and within the United States. And so you do not need a passport or a visa stamp to travel, although it's useful to have your passport as a form of ID in case anyone asks.
Okay, so how do I get a new I-20 if I change my major?
So an easy way to do that is if you happen to be traveling soon and your major has changed, maybe you're starting the new major in the fall semester and you're going home for summer break. A way to get it updated is in the travel signature e-form. Like James talked about, you should be submitting that before you travel to make sure you have a valid travel signature. Within that e-form, you can also check that your major has changed, and that way you'll get a travel signature and the major updated in one I-20. If your major has changed and you're not traveling anytime soon, you can just send us an email and we'll help you get it updated and send you a new I-20.
Somebody writes in, how do I get a social security number? And some people might want to know what that is.
Certainly, a social security number is a US government ID number that's used for payroll and taxes. And because it's only used for payroll and taxes, or that's what it's designed for, you can only get a social security number if you have employment somewhere in the US. And so all of you are eligible to work on campus in an on-campus job, whether for UC or perhaps for a bookstore or campus services like our cafeterias. Once you have secured a job, you can then log into iBearcats Global, and there's an e-form there called Employment Verification. Submit the e-form, we will then process your materials, and then if you do need a social security number, we'll then issue you the materials you need and the steps you need to follow to apply for a social security number. Because you can work on campus, you don't need the social security number to begin work. So you can start working while the social security number has been applied for. Once you have the social security number, it's good for life. So even if you're only here for one semester and you come back 50 years from now, you'll still have the same social security number. And so it doesn't matter if it's on campus or off campus employment that you eventually do with your practical training or off campus work permit, you can still use the same social security number. Some of you may have encountered the need to have a social security number now. Maybe you have a utility company or your landlord or someone's asking for a social security number. Technically, they're not supposed to ask for that number, but it's become an ID number in the US that has been synonymous with your identification. So many people have gotten used to asking for your social security number. If you encounter someone who is asking you for your social security number and you don't have one, it's perfectly okay to say, I don't have one at this time. And so they may find that's problematic, but they can just enter in a fake SSN number. Typically, they add in like a 999 number, just so they can fill in the blank of their application or the account that they're trying to help you set up, whether it's at the bank, landlord, or something along those lines. If you do encounter someone who says, no, I really need a social security number and I don't know why you don't have one, they can always contact our office and we can explain that to them. That's what we're here to do.
Okay, I think we're moving back to the I-20. What if the end date on my I-20 is incorrect or wrong?
Sure. So like we talked about before, it's great to be looking over your I-20, checking all those details. If you see that program end date is, maybe it's upcoming, maybe it's in a couple semesters, and I'm not going to be able to complete my program by then, you can log into iBearcats Global and submit the I-20 extension request. Your academic advisor will then comment on the form to provide us with the new end date. You'll also need to show financial documents to show that you have enough support for that extension. As long as everything looks good, we'll approve it and issue you a new I-20.
Okay, somebody's asking, what if my local address changes?
Well, certainly what we're going to do is have you log on to Catalyst in the UC system and update your US address there, or your phone number, or any other kind of personal details. That information will then change in the university system. It will let us know. It will change it in iBearcats Global, and then we'll take care of notifying the immigration service of your change of address.
And you might take a chance here again, James, to remind people to be sure to submit their local address, right?
That's right. Many of you have just arrived in the country and maybe you're in hotels or someone's couch or something like that. But once you do have a place to live, and it's going to be your place to live for the semester, then do please log on to Catalyst and make sure you submit that address update so the immigration service knows where to find you. That sounds awfully scary, but in fact, what it is a requirement of every F1 student to make sure that their US address is up to date with their university. And so you can do that through Catalyst once you have successfully found a place and you've moved in.
We've got a couple of more questions. Someone's asking, how do I get a driver's license?
Well, certainly you can, if you live in Ohio or Kentucky, or I should say, even say Indiana, we can assist you in that process. We provide a letter called the driver's license letter, which you can again request through iBearcats Global. This introduces you to the driver's license bureau of who you are and what your immigration status is. You'll need that letter along with your immigration documents to apply for a driver's license. Now, typically when you go to one of those bureaus, either Ohio, Kentucky, or Indiana, they're going to want to see the letter. They're going to want to see your passport and your I-20 to verify that you really are in the US in F1 status at the University of Cincinnati. Once they verified that, they'll then look over what country you're from and decide whether or not you need to take the written test. Everyone has to take the written test, or if you have to take the physical driving part of the test. And so keep in mind that the rules may be a little bit different depending on the country you're from, but we also do offer the rules of the road in our office. We have a book that you can take with you and practice. Also, our office sponsors, and Lori will have more details about this, our office sponsors every semester a one afternoon of driving instruction where you can sit in a classroom and learn how to drive on the roads in the US, and then coordinate with that instructor to take part in some physical practice in his car. And so, Lori, do you have any other details about that?
We will be scheduling one for spring semester. We do partner with Westside Driving Academy. We have a great instructor there. He's enthusiastic always about explaining the rules of the road. He gives some information about how to get insurance. You're going to need to get car insurance. It's a 4-hour course, and he's lively, and time will pass quickly, I promise. And then he'll give you 4 hours of road experience. So he'll pick you up in his car, probably from your university address, and take you out driving and help you practice and give you some insider tips on how to pass that driving exam in the car with somebody from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. So it's a great course. Just keep an eye on your newsletter for that. And we'll get that in there as soon as we get that scheduled. Okay, we got one final question, and this one might be one for me and Katie. How do I make friends at UC? So my first piece of advice would be to be sure that you are following us on social media. Be sure that you're looking at the weekly newsletter. You'll find information there about the kind of events that we're hosting. All international students will be invited to those events. And as you saw in the video, it's kind of everything from international taste to a visit to a working dairy farm, carving pumpkins. We're hoping that we'll be able to take an overnight retreat this winter break, or this winter session, and go snow tubing at Perfect North. So fingers crossed, COVID will allow us to do that this year. Katie, what do you think?
I would say Campus Link. Campus Link, you can find a lot of information about events, not only from UC International or IPALS, but also from organizations all over campus. So if you have a particular interest or hobby, you can kind of just do like a little search and see if there's any relating organizations. And I would say that the good majority, if not all, of campus organizations will post kind of upcoming events. So you can see those and go to those and try and meet new people. So I would say that, and then just coming to IPALS events would be a great way to meet people. And even if you don't necessarily end up making friends with some of the IPALs or students that you meet there, definitely our IPALs are very well connected. So if there is a certain interest or something that you have, you can ask one of us and we can be like, oh yeah, I know a person who does that. Let me direct you to them. So you'll be able to meet plenty of people, no problem, through IPALs or by using Campus Link.
Okay, I think that's about all the time that we have for this session today. We will remind you that the office is open on Tuesdays and Thursdays until January 24th. You can come there for document drop-off or pickup and for travel signatures. Otherwise, the best way to reach us, again, is via telephone or email, and we have pasted those into the chat for you. We do have a weekly opportunity for you to join us in a Zoom space with one of our immigration advisors to ask any questions that you might have. This is a very informal opportunity to actually see someone's face and get some updates or advice if you have questions about things like OPT or CPT, or visa renewal, I-20 extensions, all of that good stuff that we've talked about earlier in this presentation. That's on Thursdays from 3 to 4. It's kind of first come, first serve. And you're certainly welcome to sit in the space. Somebody else's question might be the answer to your question. So feel free to join us there. Following this session, we do offer 2 breakout sessions, and we will post those links in the chat for you. Both of those are by folks in our office. They're great sessions, lots of information about student success and on-campus employment. So I want to thank you for your time this morning, for joining us. We welcome you to the University of Cincinnati. We're here to help this experience be a positive one for you. And we always encourage you to keep in touch. Let us know how things are going and how we can better serve you. Any final remarks from anybody in the room from you guys?
So we're really happy that you're here. We know it's been a long journey, and it's great that you finally made it here, or will make it here soon.
Okay. And James, do you want to give them a nudge again about that pre-arrival checklist?
Certainly, yes. If you haven't done so already, or if you're in the process, please complete the pre-arrival checklist. Take it all the way to tab 9, finish resources and regulations, get that box checked off so we can get your immigration record active. And that way you can stay here. And so that's important for us to get that done. Thanks, Lori.
All right. Well, we look forward to meeting you. We hope to see you in person, face to face, starting January 24th. In the meantime, we will be in virtual space, and we certainly invite you to join us there. Okay. Have a great day. Enjoy those breakout sessions. And again, let us know if you have any questions, you need some support, you need some events or some resources. We're here. Okay. Bye.